Test to show you. Woo! It's so much more controlled now. Howdy and welcome my fellow autotists and Miata enthusiasts. In this video, we're going to be covering if sway bars are worth it on your Miata. Too long, didn't watch. They are worth it. All right, I'll see you later. Bye. And for those excellent people that stick past this 30-second mark, thank you for not clicking away. If you're a fellow autotist and you enjoy driving fast and you enjoy cars and you enjoy driving cars fast, please like and subscribe so my channel doesn't die. Because the YouTube algorithm has a really hard time with finding really cool people such as yourself to watch my content. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. In this video, you can go ahead and skip around if you see fit, but we're going to go ahead and do the install of the sway bars. We're going to cover initial impressions. We're going to do a before and after of the body roll. A fair warning to those of y'all wanting to see how to install the sway bars. This video is not for you. I highly recommend the Flying Miata video. The install of the front sway bar is known to be a pain in the ass, and it definitely is a bit of a tedious job. It's not super hard if you've wrenched before. I did it by myself, and we're going to go ahead and do like a quick montage of the install, do street driving impressions, and move to the track impressions. And then we're going to go ahead and come back here and tie it all together. All right, let's not waste any more time. Let's go to the install. This sun's really bright. Let's get into this. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The Miata has a body roll issue. In stock form, it handles great. It's set up well for the most part. However, when you start going over 5/10ths, you can definitely feel that there's a lot of body roll. Even though I have a GT, GTS, whatever you want to call it, with the Bilsteins and the LSD, it still has quite a bit of body roll. I can't imagine what the non-Bilstein ND even feels like, and I don't want to imagine that, to be honest with you. And one of the many mods that people like to do immediately is a thicker sway bar in the front, and that's what we're going to be doing today. I initially wanted to buy coilovers for this car before because I did have an ND1 at one point in time long ago, certified pre-owned from a Mazda dealership. Actually came with aftermarket sway bars, so I never got to experience stock ride quality with a stock ND setup. Now that I have a stock ND that I purchased new, it's definitely there. And the best way to really bring out the problem with the body roll is to take the car to the track. And on top of that, when you stick on some extremely grippy tires like the RE71 RS, it is hilarious. Passengers that ride with me often say that they're either looking at the ground in a turn or they're looking up at the sky in a turn. The solution is to obviously get thicker sway bars in the front. Again, I was going to go with coilovers first. I got a great deal on Facebook Marketplace and immediately copped up some new sway bars. So I ended up purchasing an FR Spec Sake Bomb Garage 27mm front sway bar and Flying Miata rear sway bar. Pretty good deal, 250 bucks for these two bars, and also some aftermarket end links from Flying Miata that come with the rear sway bar. On top of all that, I'm going to be installing Payco Motorsports front subframe reinforcements for the front sway bars because the ND Miata actually has a known issue to where the front subframe can actually rip. I've never personally seen that. However, I don't want to see that, so that's where these bad boys come in handy. Okie dokie, let's get cracking on this. Japanese cars love 10mm, and that's why we always lose 10mm because they're the most used fitting. I'll probably forget that the battery's disconnected and freak out later on about why is my car not starting. Yeah, this kind of bitch. It's kind of ever so slightly a bitch. All right. Okay. All right, Miata. Alrighty, GoPro overheated even though it's not even a hot summer Texas day, but here we are. This guy actually wasn't that bad to get out. The only problem I had was actually on the power steering pump harness getting that out, but I just yanked it. I was frustrated, so I just yanked that bitch out. Worked out just fine. The tab didn't break. Getting that out of the way, I was able to manipulate this the Flying Miata way, and it was actually pretty chill. Aftermarket bar is noticeably thicker and heavier, more robust than the stock sway bar. I think the stock sway bar is a 22mm? I'm not sure. The sway bar I've got now wheel is supposedly 27 millimeter, even though I couldn't find this anywhere online. I could find the 32 millimeter, so I don't know if this is the 32 millimeter or not. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. I'm just happy to have this. Oh yeah. New bar, nice and thick, how I like my dudes. I mean, how I like my women. Wait, yeah, mag dump. Nothing like a good mag dump, you know what I'm saying? Oh, buddy, I don't live in the hood and no, nobody's trying to lower property value. That's just literally a neighbor down the street that has their own property, own land, and yeah, they like to mag dump like that every now and then, and you can't blame them really. Who doesn't love a good mag dump, you know? Day 2, we're gonna quickly knock out the rear sway bar. My GoPro died, but I was able to do the front last night, get it all buttoned up. Everything was going okay until I had some quality control issues with the Payco Motorsports subframe braces. I had to do some drilling and basically expand some contact points, and then also I had put some things on backwards and had to fish that out, and I kept putting the radiator hose bolts back thinking I was done with that side, and I had to undo them about 2 more times. Took a little bit longer than anticipated. It wasn't that bad, but yeah, it just took a while. Didn't get done until like 10:30, and this job has so far been like a 5-6 hour job at this point, which is crazy to me. Took the car out last night just to feel out the front. Definitely is stiffer. Front end does feel a little bit more crisp. That being said, I definitely need to do the rear bar because I felt like the ass was dragging just a little bit. So hopefully the rear bar stiffens up the rear a little bit. It'll collaborate with the front end in terms of turn-in. We're almost there. This shouldn't take me very long. Should probably take hopefully only maybe 15 minutes. So hopefully, let's get started. Install done. Let's go for a drive. Let's see the difference. Doing a little test. A little test to show you. Woo! Miata doesn't have an understeer problem. The ND does a fine job being neutral steering. But we're entering the roundabout. Show you a little bit of U-turn under load. Picking up a little speed here. And the weight transfer. Little transitionary thing. Another U-turn, very easy. And then we go to AutoZone to get some grease for the sway bars. All right, first impressions, I could already feel the stiffness in terms of like the ride quality. I've only been on the road for like 30 seconds. Definitely feels more stable. All right, let's give it a whirl. Ooh. Wow. Wow. This is awesome. All right, doing the U-turn. Okay, ride is much more composed. Much more composed. Doing the U-turn here. Wow. We are more planted and I can modulate mid-corner, get some more rotation. Wow! All right. That is fantastic. Oh my gosh. What a difference. What a difference. I'm excited to see the footage back. Wow. Wow. So much more response. So much more composed. Oh, I forgot how good these are. Oh, it feels so much better. Here we are about a week later, and this is my thoughts with a week of getting used to the street driving with the Swaybars. One thing is the front tucks in really nicely, and the rear follows right away. Just like that. And you can have like total control of everything because the communication is so much better now. You can just tuck and get on the throttle and modulate with throttle and do a little bit of a, you know, little quick change of direction, and there's not a whole lot of drama. Whenever you're driving with the stock Swaybars and the stock setup, yes, there is a lot of body roll, and there still is a lot of body roll, but the thing about the body roll with the stock setup is it's not super confidence inspiring because it can get out of sorts pretty quickly. There's a lot of drag in the rear end, and that could make for something that could be a little bit harder to keep a smooth transition. People. The main attribute that is now apparent is more composure. Now, there are some drawbacks to this because not everything is perfect. The Swaybars do add a bit more stiffness. There's a little bit more cowl shake now, and it will definitely bring out the undulations a bit more. But otherwise, I mean, it's the positives outweigh the negatives completely. And I really mean that because it's so much more controlled now. It's just so much more controlled now, and usually with stock suspension, I'm pretty nervous to do stuff like that because it is skittish. It can get out of hand pretty quickly. You can snap oversteer just because there's all that weight transfer. Now that's all dialed out, it's so much more tidy. It feels much more like a go-kart. We need to take the Miata to the track to feel how the Swaybars make a difference on the track. Is it going to be a big difference? Is it going to be a small difference? Will the car be faster? Will it just drift more? Is it going to be more erratic? The thing about the track is it brings out a lot of flaws in cars. You can have a good driving car on the street and push it really hard, but you're not really going to get the full effect of the car's flaws until you bring it to an autocross, a track, rally, what have you. That being said, let's go ahead and take it to the track. All right, off to the track. All right, we're at the racetrack now, and you're gonna go check out how this handles on the stock tires. I did not bring RE71 RSs today because my tires are pretty much corded. I need a new set. On top of that, it's a counterclockwise day, so I will do a separate video for chasing a time clockwise with new tires and make sure everything's kosher compared to what I have been doing to shave off some time. But today it'll give me a good idea of how the car handles with the stock tires, and I like doing the stock tires just because it makes the car a little bit more thrilling, a little bit more skittish. It's not as hardcore, it's a little bit more fun, so we'll see how that goes. The tires are gonna be pretty cold, so yeah. See if we can keep pace with this guy. Ah, just kidding. All right, I can tell that the front end likes to bite a little bit more. No. Don't worry, GT4. I'm just gonna warm up with tires. Dude, what? Jesus. Okay, I didn't do that, okay? I did not cause that. Let's keep that clear right there. I did not cause that. Okay, on throttle, it rotates a lot more. Okay, yeah, it's turning in, it's gripping in like crazy. Oh yeah, you can just chuck it in now. Yeah, there's definitely more feedback. So I'm on throttle, and the on throttle rotation is great. is a windy day, so I do apologize for the wind noise. So off throttle rotation as well, like a little bit of lift off oversteer, definitely a nice trait to have. Yeah, we've got some drifty boy stuff. Getting more used to these sway bars. I was definitely trying to push a little bit more and overdrive just a little bit just to see how it would handle. It never really got out of sorts anything beyond my control, so there's definitely still a lot more limit in there. I did match my stock time going clockwise with the sway bars. I feel like this configuration of the track is about a half second to a second slower depending on what you've got. It's within a second, but this is a great baseline. welcome back. On to the final thoughts. Pros and cons. First thing, obviously less roll. There's more response and it's not as lazy feeling. Front end bites down much more with turn in, and the rear follows suit and doesn't drag ass anymore. You can feel the chassis now from front to back. It's much more cohesive and you know exactly what everything's doing. Whereas before, the front does have a bit more roll than the rear and it was just kind of off kilter. There's more stability now and it mitigates that nervous feeling. It's confidence inspiring. It gives the Miata a more go-kart feeling as it should be. Now the cons. It's a stiffer ride and it provides a little bit more cowl shake. On a bumpy or bad road, you can definitely feel the undulations of the road a little bit more. Expect to have some creaks whenever you're twisting everything up. I typically use Teflon tape and just wrap it around the sway bars. I didn't do that this time and I noticed that there is more creaking, whereas my previous ND Miata, I had Teflon tape on the sway bars and there was no noise. Of course, grease your bushings. And overall, it takes time to get used to the new response. It's definitely a bit more willing to rotate, which will throw you off at first because your inputs will probably be a little bit more than you want at first, which in turn is a good thing because there you go, you have way more response. Highly recommend any Miata owner or ND Miata owner especially get some sway bars. It's a fairly cheap mod that will completely transform the car into what it should have been from the factory. The next video is going to be me going to the track with some fresh tires and seeing if I can knock off a second or two from my personal best. Until then, we'll see you next time. Bye!
Be sure to like and subscribe.